Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Heart of the Swarm campaign in StarCraft 2 and Rocket Rapid Commentaries. And here we are going to take on Sylvan Sliven in... It's both of them, okay? In the Crucible mission, as we are still testing out Kerrigan's new abilities, and we get to playtest a little bit with the Dahaka's Primal Zerg faction. This fight is not honestly all that difficult, but it is the most difficult one of the primal Zerg pack leaders that we have to take down, specifically because of the exploding broodlings. It is very difficult to keep everything alive here, which is why Kerrigan should probably try and do this solo for the most part. But, you know, she's got men, so it's definitely doable to keep everything alive. I just don't want to.
Not necessary. Sacrifices must be made in the swarm.
Exploding banelings. But there we go. Sliven is down.
Yeah, because you call it Sylvan outside of commentary.
And I call it Sylvan because it makes much more sense for me to call it that, given how frequent the thing silver is in video games. But
Silver, Salve, 7.
Complete. Your essence overflows with power.
You got really nice cologne.
You will feed my evolution, the first in millennia.
Oh no, Zurvan's going to eat us!
Oh, that's what he meant by feed the evolution.
Yup.
Allegiance but to self.
Kill or be killed. You know this.
Of course,
Also, Dahako gave us another Ultralisk. Haha.
comes something greater than either. This is the heritage of the Zerg.
Well, Mr. Gerdat, I have a question for you. How do you eat an elephant?
Very slowly, actually.
One bite at a time. That is correct.
Alright. Zurvan's fight is not actually difficult, like, at all. The only thing you really have to worry about if you want to keep your forces alive is dodging the very well-telegraphed damage zones that he starts throwing out. Kerrigan actually can do this fight on her own if you're decent enough at micro. I am not, obviously, but... And yes, Zurvan comes with his own commentary throughout the fight. Unfortunately, they are not on the subtitles. So, also, he can just spew out Ultralisks like an asshole. We're not trying to escape fate, Zurvan. We're trying to best you in combat.
It was ineffective.
Yes, because we moved out of the way.
It was ineffective. Run away. Run away. Going for coup de grace. Yeah.
And so, we have bested Zurvan in combat. Whoosh!
Well done. Destroyify his brains.
And steal his essence. But there we go. That is the end of Supreme.
Stories. They told of a dragonborn who had wings that looked flippy and floopy on each side, and always stealing the Zerg's power.
Prepare the Leviathan. It's time the swarm returned to the Cocoon sector.
And that's what we will be doing in the next part. But by defeating, by clearing Zurvan, we also got access to the next evolution mission. So we're gonna be doing that instead this part.
Queen of the jungle. Yeah.
I think that's technically supposed to be a reference to Queen of the Damned, but I'm not sure.
Well, who would be the Queen of the jungle? I mean, I thought Tarzan was King of the jungle.
Yeah, Tarzan is King of the Jungle, but that would make Jane Queen of the Jungle. But Jane is like useless in most of that book and movie series.
Well, because back in the day, when you wrote a book, you had to create not only the narrative or the core plot of what happens, you also had to manufacture the context and the premise of the literature given. Is it a diary? Is it a journal? Is it a letter? Is it an overheard conversation? Does the
Instead
story...
of it just being just a work of fiction. Meh.
Yeah, because in this day we understand that suspense of disbelief takes place. You don't have to be sucked into like, okay, like this story. Well, the artist will create the tale of, oh, the story got dug up from a box somewhere that's been trapped on the ground for 50 years while we level up Kerrigan's abilities. I'll give you an example. Heart of Darkness, one of my favorite stories, one of my favorite works of literature of all time. A short story by Joseph Conrad is actually told not by the narrator. The narrator is relating a story while he's sitting on a boat that is told by Marlowe. And that's why most of the story is put in quotation marks, even though it is narrated in the first person.
Sorry, yeah, we're getting the Hydralisk Evolution mission, which effectively is two different styles of Lurker. And yes, we'll be going for the classic Lurker instead of the new Impaler strain, because the Impaler strain, although it's really good against heavily armored targets, there's only a couple of those left in the campaign, at least on normal mode. And yes, Mr. Cloud.
On the subject of Ruthless, making in references to the Impaler, the capital I Impaler, Vlad Dracula, who is said to have slain maybe like 100,000 of his own citizens because he was wicked. He put them to the stake.
Wasn't that because of a civil war, though?
Possibly. He was Lord at the time, and he had like retainers and people who were watching over his property.
Defeat the Dominion. So yeah, apparently the sunken colony that the Overmind made ended up mutating into the Impaler colony after we left. And as Past Gerdat is mentioning here, yes, neither of the Lurker strains are actually all that useful. The normal Lurker strain that we're familiar with from Brood War is the one that we'll actually be using if we ever decide to make a Lurker den. We won't, mind you, because Lurker dens are they're just a little bit more production that you have to do before getting access to a unit that honestly is not as good as it realistically should be. Like the Lurkers have significantly higher bonus damage against light units and attack in an area of effect. So they are really good at taking out waves of smaller units on defense. But a lot of the Heart of the Swarm campaign is us attacking a heavily entrenched enemy. So you would think we'd actually want the Impalers, but the problem with there is that Impalers are also really expensive, and they need to be able to see their targets in order to hit them with impaling. So they need Mutalisk scout support, and if you've got Mutalisk scout support, you may as well just max out on Mutalisks.
Yay!
I've never been a fan of the Lurkers, to be perfectly honest. They are useful units, like the competitive scene for StarCraft 2. Okay, that's just really weird for me. But yeah, the competitive scene for StarCraft 2 really enjoys using Lurkers as an endgame transition.
So that's all they do, is it's the one thing that, because it's a campaign mission that is fixed, that the Impalers would conveniently be the most useful to finish it.
Well, honestly, the big thing for these Lurkers is the benefit that they deal so much additional damage to armored targets that they can one-shot a majority of the enemies that are here, and they have such long attack ranges that they can attack with safety for a majority of the time. But positioning your Lurkers in order to leapfrog them through things is a bit of an issue, because that's what they effectively need to be. That's effectively what their micro is. They need to be leapfrogged up through the ranks in order to continually deal damage. They effectively are the Zerg version of siege tanks. And honestly, they're very good at being siege tanks, but that doesn't mean that they're a good unit.
Skitter, skitter.
I would
They are
consider that the
heavily-
Lurkers actually go plod given their size, but I could be wrong.
Oh boy. We're going down.
But as is being showing off here, that without additional vision, because they actually have longer attack range than their sight range, they have the issue of they can't really be at maximum efficiency without support.
Yeah, that was a wicked defense we had to plow through. We lost a lot of units, taking out
No,
two
we
bases.
didn't lose any units. That was the Allied Zerg forces that were sending in Zerglings for us.
Alternative hydralisk morph possible. Surviving lurker dens discovered.
And what planet are they on, Mr. Abather?
Switching planets.
Planet Caver.
Caver.
Once birthing colony for Dagoth's brood.
Ha! Dagoth.
Feral.
I miss Dagoth.
That was the name of a quest-related Oblivion character.
Lurkers. Survivors of interswarm conflict.
I can control them, but I can't morph more.
Okay then. So we need to go and take down the lurker dens,
Requires lurker den.
as Abather mentions.
Secure nearby
I like how when it zooms in on Abather's head, it looks like he's typing on a keyboard while he's talking.
He's constantly fidgeting with additional essence strands. That's why.
Searching Google. Missing correct C. Search words.
Sensed us. Burrow. Quick.
So you ready to see a massive slaughtering of Zerglings?
Lurker attacks many foes
Whoosh, 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 whoosh.
against light enemies.
So they attack while burrowed, so what unburrows the Lurkers?
Well, they have the ability to unburrow themselves. The big thing that you have to worry about for Lurkers when you're actually using them in competitive is detectors, because while they're burrowed, they're effectively cloaked.
I see, so it's a different kind of cloaking.
Yes.
Versus a kind of bioluminescence, using chemicals and substances in order to change the translucentness of the cells on the epidermis. And all throughout the body in order to create the appearance of everything that is around it.
Defend the lurker den.
I thought they would actually be attacking from the north first, but apparently not. So
kind
now
of
we have to walk all
camouflage.
the way back south.
They do move rather fast.
Only because we have a bunch of creep here. As with the majority of Zerg units, having creep bonuses, increasing our movement speed, makes them significantly more viable.
The lurker den.
Okay, so when they burrow, are they still visible to the enemy? They just can't
They are
be?
not.
So we can see them.
Yeah, we can see them, but they cannot.
Interesting. I don't know, man. I mean, it seems pretty goddamn useful.
Only when you have them in mass. Like having four lurkers in a party isn't actually going to help you enough to make a difference.
If you had 8 lurkers in a party, though.
That's like 1,600 gas. It's not fucking worth it.
I see. This game gets you all excited and says, no, it's not viable. You have to actually draw the fucking cards in order to make the combo play.
Sometimes. Reading through the description. Woot. Alright, so, with the Lurker Evolution mission successfully complete, I do believe the next area that we're going to is going to be... we're going back to Goprulu space, but I think we're stopping off over at... Are we going to Skygear next, or are we going to the asteroid belt? I'm not sure. Okay, we're deciding that next part. Alright. Be safe, everybody.
Peace out, y'all.